Hello, my friends. Trying to see if we're live for sure. It's been a while since I've done this thing. We shall see. Oh, snap. We're live. Okay. All right. Sorry. This is very unplanned, very random. I was just on with Lee Stranahan on his show. And it's been a while since I've done some updates. So I was like, I'm sitting in the chair. I might as well do some updates. And there's a lot going on. Okay, hold on. Let me pull up numbers. Again, this is going to be me just reading them off of my random app, so it's not going to be in any cohesive order. Okay, so let's start with it has been 4,385 days of illegal and arbitrary detention for journalist and publisher Julian Assange. It has been 3,825 days since he entered the Ecuadorian embassy. It has been 1,388 days since Julian Assange was essentially kidnapped from the Ecuadorian embassy and thrown into Belmarsh. It's been 702 days since Julian Assange was denied bail, 2 days after Judge Vanessa Breitzer ruled against extradition and called for his release, which was a really interesting bait and switch. It has been, let's see, it has been, oh, we have 1,337 days of political persecution for Ola Beni in Ecuador. I actually haven't seen him tweet for a while. I need to check on, maybe I'm just not seeing them. You can follow him at Ola Beni, OLABINI. He usually regularly updates on his case, but again, I haven't seen his tweets for a while. I just am now realizing that. So I'll have to check and make sure, see what's going on there. It has been 618 days since whistleblower Daniel Hale pled guilty to one charge under the Espionage Act. And he has been transferred. He was 424 days since Daniel Hale was transferred to a communications management unit in Illinois, Marion, Illinois. I'm gonna, in just a minute, I'll pull up the his address. It's holiday season. If you guys could take a few minutes of your time and write to Daniel Hale, I'm sure he would appreciate that. I think that's all the bad news ones. Oh, no, it's not. We also have 16,671 days since Leonard Peltier was convicted. And I've been trying to make a big push on that as well. He is obviously older. Sorry, Leonard. I don't know. It's not. That's a very awkward way to describe it. He's getting older for sure. His health is not great. And he shouldn't be in prison. He shouldn't have been in prison for one day. But he certainly shouldn't still be in prison. It's ridiculous. Especially given the realities of his case and the fact that witnesses were coerced into testifying against him, people he didn't even know. Evidence was manufactured, all kinds of shenanigans. I can recommend to you the Leonard Political Prisoner podcast. I've interviewed the two hosts of that show. They seriously, I know I say it all the time, they do a great job. They do a really amazing job it's a very kind of nuanced case. There's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, again, 16,671 days. That's a lot of history to go back through, but they do a really good job of kind of digging into that in a real way, expressing it in a way that's very easy to understand. So please go check out that podcast, share it with your friends, all that good stuff. Okay, so the good news. We have 1,001 days of freedom for whistleblower Chelsea Manning, 751 days of freedom for Jeremy Hammond, 542 days of freedom since for a Reality Winner, and 374 days since Craig Murray was released from jail in the UK under dubious circumstances. That was ridiculous too. I'm probably forgetting some stuff in there, but again, this was very last minute, just me jumping on here. So, but that's the numbers that I have in front of my face right now. Okay. Holy crap. There's a lot to talk about, y'all. I don't want to take up too much of your time. So I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as possible. Let's start with the stuff that's happening tomorrow. So tomorrow is December 10th. It is International Human Rights Day, which is going to be fun. There's going to be a lot of really hypocritical tweets coming out from people like, I don't know, Antony Blinken, Kamala Harris, John Bolton. I'm sure Mike Pompeo, who's going to be running for president, will likely put out a tweet about International Human Rights Day. Joe Biden. I have no doubt will put out, or at least his intern, because let's be real, Joe Biden doesn't tweet. So tomorrow there's a lot of actions taking place all over the world. Let me pull up Alex's Twitter real quick so we can get the full list. I think it's 31 cities, if I remember correctly, total that are holding events tomorrow. It's our pinned tweet. Hold on, my computer's being stupid. Hold please. Okay, let me share the screen. It's been forever since I did this. Just so you guys know, I have just been taking a little bit of a break. I had life stuff going on. So I'm just taking a little bit of a break. I needed it. It's been good for me. So that's why I haven't been on here, haven't done shows. So just be patient. We'll be back. As in particular, I think following the first of the year, I'm gonna at least do Action for Assange on a regular basis. I don't know if I'll do any other shows. I quit TNT Radio. I stepped away from everything. So I just needed some time. As you guys know, I had like a really ridiculously terrible like 2-3 months. And I felt like I was getting pummeled and I just needed a break. So that's what's been going on. Okay, so here's what's happening. Did that come up okay? Nope. Here we go. Okay. So this is Candles for Assange. My friend Alex Hills runs this page. She does a fantastic freaking job of kind of collecting all of the global events and publishing them all through one location. So it's like a one-stop shop. If we're ever doing something where it's multiple cities, Alex will have all the information for whatever. So these are all of the oh, and look, she even did the little emojis for people who are doing the chair thing. So there's two different types of protests happening. I'm not really sure if they're all, I don't know. It seems a little disjointed this time around, but some people are doing a kind of like a chair. If you guys aren't familiar, the Anything to Say art exhibit or art installation or whatever, where there's the 4 chairs. And on them is Edward Snowden, Chelsea Manning, and Julian Assange. And then the 4th chair is empty, and the 4th chair is supposed to represent us, and this gives us the opportunity to stand up and say something, right? So a lot of these protests are doing that, where you bring your own chair and everybody's going to stand on a chair. It kind of symbolizes that sort of a energy. So make sure you check for your particular action to see what they're doing. I know also some people are doing lanterns. So, and if you can't do a lantern, a candle will work, or a flashlight, or whatever, anything that, you can shine a light. I think that was my friend Truman's idea. So London, Sydney, Melbourne, Magnetic Island. I'm probably saying that wrong. DC, Denver, New York, Seattle, Tulsa. I'm not going to read all these. You guys can read. But if you go to, I'll hit the link for this and put it in the chat. So you guys can find this Twitter thread easier. But it is her pinned tweet also. Should be very easy to find. So go to Alex's feed, find an event near you. If you cannot find an event near you, be an event near you. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be, it could just be like you and 2 of your best buds, with a poster board and a chair or whatever. But if you cannot participate in a physical protest, you can still post on social media, take a picture of yourself standing on a chair, take a picture of yourself holding a lantern, and tweet that out with the hashtags that go along with those. So definitely check out, and if you guys don't mind, please go to this thread anyways and just share the events. In particular, just share the events in your area. If you are in the US, share the US events. If you're in the UK, share the UK events. Share them all. That would be great too. Just share the thread, whatever you can do to kind of get the word out. But these are all taking place tomorrow on December 10th for International Human Rights Day. So whatever you can do to get the word out about that would be great. Okay. So, Karen. Yeah. Okay. Karen, Sydney supporters will be at the PM's office at 11 a.m. this morning, which they're like in the future. They're coming to us from the future. So probably like in a few hours. I'm not sure what time it is there, but soon. They always kick us off over there. So yeah, John Bolton. Fuck John Bolton. He's such a scumbag, dude. And he might run for president now, guys. Oh my God. The Death Walrus. Might run for president. It's a good time, right? Oh, I kind of hope he does. I kind of hope him and Mike Pompeo both run because I'm gonna have a field day. I've been having a field day with both of them. In particular, Mike Pompeo. Every time he tweets, I'm in his mentions. Like, you're the guy that spied on and arrested Julian Assange. Shut up. It's already 8 a.m. there. All right, and they're doing the bring your chair thing at Magnetic Island. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I hope not. Magnetic? That's how it's spelled. But let's see. Oh yeah, that's Julian's like early childhood. So, and they're doing lanterns in Townsville. So I miss you too, Allie. I just needed a break. I went really hard for years. Because I don't know moderation. I'm an all or nothing kind of girl. And I hit a wall. Like I had all those deaths all like one right after the other. And I was just done. I just needed some time. I think I'm going to be back full time here, at least on A for A, after the first of the year. And then I'll just take it from there. But I miss you, Allie. I love Allie Mae. Okay. What do I want to move to? What do I want to move to? What do I want to move to? Said perfectly. Yay. Nailed it. Here, I guess I could put this stuff up here so you guys can see. If you're in Sydney, that's where they're going to be in just a few hours. So, good morning, my friends from the future. It's 5:14 p.m. here in Ohio. So, you are coming from the future, which always makes me laugh. It's always a little weird. Okay, so there's that one. And then here's Allie Mae, this is in Oz, Australia. It's a big one. We need lots of support there. Lots of pressure on the Albanese government. What a turd he is. He totally mentioned it. I don't know that he actually mentioned it. It's a good thing to say to save face, but I don't think so. I don't trust him. He's a politician. Okay. Yes, Allie, we need to I'll just have you on the show or whatever. We can just have a chat. We can just, you and me have a chat. Cause there's a whole hell of a lot to talk about. Okay. I'm getting distracted again. Okay. Here, we'll talk about this real quick so I don't forget to do it. As you probably already know, cause y'all are smart, on Monday, the big 5 newspapers, New York Times, The Guardian, El País, Der Spiegel, and Le Monde, those were the 5 publishing partners for Cablegate 12 years ago. And the Monday was the 12-year anniversary of the release of Cablegate. So the 5 newspapers came out in support of Assange. In their letter of support, they still managed to smear Assange and use ridiculous talking points, especially The Guardian. Okay, I have to rant about this just briefly. I've already ranted about it on other people's shows, but y'all, the idea that The Guardian had the nerve to sign on to a letter that includes a paragraph that says something about, we all at the time were concerned with the behavior of WikiLeaks, being willy-nilly and releasing unredacted cables. Go fuck yourselves. Oh my God. Are you kidding? The Guardian, David Lee and Luke Harding, published a book, and the title of one of the chapters was literally the encryption key, the full encryption key to the unredacted cables. So it was not Julian who was willy-nilly and reckless and released unredacted cables. It was David Lee who used it as a title of one of the chapters of his book. And so the idea that they would come out 12 years later and perpetuate that same nonsense still, despite the fact that we all know that it was them that published the full encryption key, because here's how that worked. Part of the encryption key was written down for them, and then some of it was left off, and Julian expressed it to them verbally for security reasons, obviously, right? You don't want to have the whole thing written down. So if that piece of paper gets lost, then you're screwed and everybody has the encryption key. No, he gave them part of it and then verbally expressed the rest of it. And instead of publishing part of it or none of it, why do you got to publish any of it? He published the full fucking thing. So The Guardian is a joke. They are an unbelievable hack of a rag. I've been told that I'm supposed to be grateful that they now support Julian Assange. I'm not. They have spent the past 12 years throwing him under the bus. They are a huge part of the reason why we are in the situation to begin with. They for months and months and months and months leading up to his arrest, denigrated his character and lied about him and smeared him and manufactured consent for his arrest and for the treatment he's receiving right now, including publishing the ridiculous Paul Manafort story that is still to this day up on their website, despite the fact that it's obvious bullshit. So I'm not grateful. It's cool. Listen, I'm always glad when this gets mainstream coverage. That's always a good thing. And I'll use that, but I'm not going to kiss the ass of the people who are responsible for the situation we're in. I'm just not ever going to do that. And a lot of people have a problem with that. That's their problem. It's not mine. Okay. So all that being said, the idea that these 5 newspapers came out in support of Julian Assange gives us an opportunity that we can use to our advantage. And I think that this is very timely. I just put this thread together on Monday following the release of that ridiculous letter. So this is my pinned tweet. Andrew! Andrew's here. Andrew, do I have your permission to speak about what's been going on with you? Because I didn't want to do that without. I just missed your call. I'm sorry, I'm live. Okay, I guess since you're in the chat talking about it. Okay, so for those of you that are not aware or maybe not on Twitter, Andrew's sweet baby girl is very ill. She recently had to have emergency brain surgery to remove a tumor. And it's been very scary, and it is still scary. There's still stuff that she's going to have to go through. I don't want to get too personal with it or talk about too much details because I don't really know what's okay to say. But her surgery went great. She's obviously just like a little kick-ass human being. She's such a fighter. So surgery went great. Andrew said they're discharging her 3 days early and she's going to be home tonight. So that is super good news, my friend. That's really good news. So yeah, she's a little badass. But if you guys can, I don't do the prayers thing, but if you have some good vibes to send her way, or if you're a prayer kind of person, it can't hurt, right? It can't hurt. So Andrew's been really going through the ringer this week. But it's good. Yeah, she gets to go home, guys. That's great. Yay. Yay. Okay. Now I'm happy. I'm glad that I got the good news after I ranted about The Guardian, because that would have had a lot less punch if I had been happy. Okay. So this is my pinned tweet on my Twitter feed at Sarcasm Stardust. The newspapers coming out in support of Julian Assange this week gives us a unique opportunity, I think, to start pressuring some other newspapers to add their names on. So I put together this monster thread. It has links to 3 or 4 different papers in each state, alphabetical order. I try to do 3 or 4 of the biggest publications by circulation. So you don't have to just stick with these. If you live in a small town and you want to hit up your small town newspaper, that's fine. I just wanted to give people a jumping off point. So this is a monster thread. There's contact information for each and every state in alphabetical order. There's at least 3 contacts for each state. Different publications, but you can go down through here. It doesn't have to be in your state. I don't care who you write to. I'm going to write to each and every one of them. But send them the New York Times, Guardian stuff, and encourage them to also add their name on in support. Because now that kind of seal's been broken, I think that we can use this to our advantage and continue to snowball on that. So this is, again, my pinned tweet at Sarcasm Stardust. Go every day, just like pick 2 or 3 and shoot off an email. Paula, who you guys know, we love. Paula, here, let me stop sharing this. And because I know it can be a little intimidating to write, to know what to say in these kinds of things, especially in particular if you're doing a letter to the editor. Those have to be pretty concise. So Paula put together this amazing form letter that, and you don't have to use this whole thing. Like, she is fully aware that this is rather long, but she just wanted to include multiple different points of information, and then you can go through and choose the ones that strike you the most, or you know, just mix them up or whatever, so it doesn't feel form lettery. So that if we're all writing to the same publication, if they get the same letter, it's gonna, that it kind of loses its punch. So you can just go through and you don't have to use these. You don't have to use this form letter. We just wanted to make it as easy as possible, and as the least amount of intimidation factor. So go through, write off a letter or two a day and send those out. I think this really does give us like a really cool opportunity to try to push on these local newspapers. So yeah, that's, I mean, really simple, easy thing you can do. It only takes like 5 minutes. Shoot off an email, done. Really simple. Um, okay. Okay, we did December 10th. We did the newspapers. What else? What else? What else? What else, guys? What else? What am I forgetting? I should have made a list of things. Oh, the Elon. I guess we can talk about Elon. Elon Musk did a poll, a very scientific Twitter poll, that I have issues with. Again, happy to have it out there. Obviously, it brought attention to the case. More people were talking about it. All of those things are good. I'm not like complaining about it entirely, but I do think it was flawed, to say the least. For one, the poll is Assange and Snowden combined, and in my opinion, there should have been two separate polls, because they are two very different cases. My opinion doesn't change. I think that they should both, and two separate polls. He also used the word pardon. I don't like it. They don't need to be pardoned. They didn't do anything wrong. The charges should just be dropped. So I have issues. I can't find it. Why can't I not find it? Oh, come on, Winston. I can't type. I also don't like the fact that oh, here it is. He's like, I'm not expressing an opinion. This is the self-proclaimed warrior of free speech. He's going to bring back free speech, y'all. That's what he's going to do. But you don't know, in the spaces he did with Kim.com, which, shout out to Kim.com. Thank you for asking him. Thank you. Seriously, thank you. But in that spaces, he said he doesn't know enough to have an opinion. So you're like a free speech absolutist. You're like this free speech warrior guy, but you don't have an opinion on the single most important court case on free speech and press freedom ever. Seems legit. I mean, I don't know. That seems a little weird to me. But I'm sure that his many very lucrative contracts with the military industrial complex have nothing to do with that, right? Yeah, this guy is not, I'm going to keep saying it. He's not your friend. He's not the savior of free speech. He is doing some good stuff. I will say that Eliza Blue has been working directly with him and with Twitter to combat child pornography on Twitter. All for it. Happy to see it. Love to see it. It's gross that it's still happening, and that the FBI was actually, I don't know if, and I would say involved, but we'll say allegedly involved, and at the very least, incredibly negligent. And that's been coming out in the Twitter file stuff. And I think Eliza's actually doing a space with Elon tonight, maybe. I'm not sure what time though. I just saw it in passing on Twitter. So he did do this poll, which again is flawed in many ways. First, because he's not expressing an opinion and still has not expressed an opinion. But he did promise Kim.com. Again, thank you, Kim, for calling him out on this and for pushing him to do this. So he said, should Assange and Snowden be pardoned? Again, I don't like the use of the word pardoned. I don't like the fact that he put them together. However, 80.5% said yes. That's pretty good, y'all. 3,316,014 votes. That's a pretty significant amount of people. And 80.5% said yes. That's good stuff, you guys. And I was honestly, when I heard he was going to do this poll, I was like, I cringed. I physically cringed. I was like, oh no. Because I thought for sure the anti Assange bots were going to take this over. And I thought we would probably still win it, but I did not anticipate it being like this. I thought that it was going to be much closer. So this is, I mean, it does give me hope. I am not a fan of Elon Musk. I don't think that I could make that any clearer. But cool. Thanks for doing this. It's weird that you don't know anything about the case. It's a little strange. He knows. It's ridiculous that he's trying to pretend like he doesn't know. Really, you don't know? Again, he has many lucrative contracts with the government in the military industrial complex. He's not going to bite the hand that feeds him. Many lucrative contracts. So obviously I blew up this thread, as you can see. I pointed out that neither need to be pardoned. The charges should just be dropped. It was cool that so many people hit that up. I just now saw that over 5,000 likes. That's amazing. And Manila Chan, shout out to Manila. If you guys aren't following her, you should follow Manila Chan. She's a great journalist. She hosts Fault Lines with Jamarl Thomas and Malik. I'm forgetting Malik's last name. He's cool too, though. But they have a great show and they are amazing. They have me on a regular basis. Every time Assange stuff comes up, they reach out to me, and not just me. They have lots of people on to talk about Assange. They cover the Assange stuff all the time. They're super great. So please support Fault Lines and Manila and Malik and Jamarl. They are great people. And I obviously, you guys know I blew up this thread. Like I went through my whole the wrong person is in prison thing and blew that up. I told him it's embarrassing that you're not expressing an opinion. You claim to care about free speech and press freedom, and yet you don't know enough about the single most important court case on press freedom in history. It's a little weird. I mean, I'm sorry, that's just a little weird. And a lot of people had excuses. Oh, he's not expressing an opinion because he didn't want to sway the poll. Okay, then for the past 12 years, where's he been at? Did he know he was going to do this poll? And so for 12 years, he remained silent so he wouldn't sway the poll. It's a ridiculous defense. It's 12 years. And not, I mean, somebody said that they think they saw him mention Assange in one interview. I have still yet to see a link to that. If you guys know of a link to where he has talked about, I can't find anything. I've looked. I don't think he's really mentioned it. Again, contracts with the government. It's not surprising. But yes, again, shout out to Chem.com. Cannot say thank you enough to Chem.com for, hey, there's Eliza. There's Eliza right there, who was one of our speakers at the October 8th event. I don't even think I've done an update since the October 8th event. Like, I don't think I've updated you guys on that. Oh, we're so far behind here on the A4A channel, y'all. But like reading down through the comments, like the Libertarian Party, shout out to the Libertarian Party. Honestly, I'm not a libertarian, but they're dope. They're so supportive all the time. They are very receptive. Every time I hit them up and ask them for support or for a retweet or helping me hype an event or whatever, they always say yes every time. So shout out to them. So yeah, if you read down through the comments, it's almost all supportive. There are some douchebags in there, the anti-Assange trolls and bots. But that's, I mean, to be expected. I really thought it was going to be worse than that, honestly. I really did. Okay. Okay, let's talk October 8th just briefly because it's been so long ago that I don't really think that I'd have much that you guys probably don't already know. I'm sure you watched the event. It was fan-fucking-tastic. So good. It was so good. Everything went perfectly. We had great weather. Everybody showed up that was supposed to show up, other than Steven Donziger. Our speakers were amazing. I was worried that because we had so many speakers that we would lose some of the crowd, like people would get bored and walk. We didn't lose anybody. Like if anything, the crowd got bigger the more we were there. The giant yellow ribbon that we had that we walked around the Department of Justice building with was so striking. A shout out to Paula. Paula did that whole ribbon. She stenciled in all of the free Assanges all throughout. I think it was 160 feet maybe worth of yellow ribbon. So she had to stencil all that by hand. She did a great job. I mean, seriously, it was so, as we started marching, we left from the corner of 10th and Pennsylvania, which is the corner that we always hold our events at. And Reverend Annie Chambers led our march, which It's mind-blowingly awesome. So she was kind of our masters of ceremonies, our little leader there for the march. And then Ian Schlackman, and I'm forgetting the other guy's name because I'm shit at names and I'm so sorry, because you were awesome too. They both had megaphones. And so they were kind of our hype guys on the march, which was awesome. But as we took off from the corner of 10th and Pennsylvania, I legitimately got emotional. Like it was so cool to see, because as you guys know, we've been doing this for a long time and it is really hard to get people to come out. We generally will see 50, 60, 70, 75 people, not much more than that, if ever, if any. So to see that we had so many people there was, it gave me, like, I'm getting chills just now thinking about it. It was so cool. Um, it was just so cool. I guess I could let me pull up Emma. So oh, Emma is an amazing photojournalist. She's been to many of our protests. I think the first one she came to was the Clovers event. And I contacted her because I really wanted like some professional photography done, and I couldn't think of anybody better. She's an activist herself. I like to keep it kind of in the family and support independent people who aren't, affiliated with any network or publication or anything. And Emma's just a great like uh kind of rogue photojournalist. And she takes amazing pictures. So this is the work she did. I don't know if I can scroll through these. Yeah, I can. Okay, hold on. Hold please. That come up okay? Okay, so these are some of the pictures that she took. That's Chuck from New York. He runs, I think it's the Stand Up New York group. There's two different New York groups, and I always get them confused. So there's Chuck. They're amazing. Hey, that's me. That's me, guys. So this is the yellow ribbon that I was talking about, that Paula stenciled. So there's I think it's every like 10 feet or so, there's a Free Assange stenciled on there, and Paula did all that. So there's Chip Gibbons, who's an amazing journalist and activist. There's Sabby Sabs. There's Paula standing next to Sabby. Sabby was one of our speakers. It was really cool of her to come down from Boston. There's Chip again. That's Willie Bragg, I believe. You can check him out. I think he has a channel. There's Matthew Ho, who was the Green Party candidate in North Carolina for Senate, who got royally screwed over by the Democratic Party and fought back anyway, which was it's always good when people go back at the Democratic Party. So I don't want to go through all these because there's a lot of them, but you guys can just see like this was a huge ass ribbon. And when it was so funny, because we were always so worried that nobody's going to show up, right? And so we were trying to figure out like how far can we space people so that it's not like billowing. We did not have to worry about that at all. As you saw, like people were side by side by side by side, and then there were still people after that. So it was like 160 feet of yellow ribbon with people back to back to back to back to back, and then we still had like a ton of people after the ribbon ran out. So lots of people. It was it was really so cool. All of the speakers were great. Obviously, Chris Hedges was kind of our closer. He's always amazing. Great to see him speak in person. I did not meet really. I mean, I met people, but like I was so busy that I did not have a chance to really speak to anybody. I did speak to Jill Stein, asked to speak to me. So I did get to speak to her briefly. I definitely spoke to Reverend Annie Chambers. I made that a priority because I've been wanting to meet her in person for a very long time. So I got myself a selfie. And obviously I'm friends with Ian and I love Ian. So I was very excited to see them too. But yeah, I didn't really get to meet anybody. I was so busy. And then I co-emceed it with Amber from Roar Media, who did an amazing job. And she pissed me off too. Yo, I show up in like my WikiLeaks sweatshirt and my like gym leggings and my tennis shoes, and my hair is a mess. And like, I'm tired. I haven't slept in a couple weeks. And she shows up in this like really fabulous dress and she looks all beautiful. And I'm like, really? So I look like a complete schlub, and then Amber looks gorgeous. So fuck you, Amber. But yeah, October 8th was fabulous. Oh, we need to talk about funding, the fundraising stuff. So note to self, next time we do an event, go on Jimmy Dore earlier because we did not have any money really. And then I went on Jimmy Dore, I think like the Monday or Tuesday before the event. And then suddenly we had over $8,000. And I'm like, I don't, there's not even time for me to spend this. I don't even know like how to spend this. Which some of that had been before and was already spent, like the Airbnb and supplies and the bracelets that I had made. And then paying Emma and Ford Fisher. Um, so I think I need to do like a whole breakdown of the finances and stuff, but we do have um probably like I would say ballpark around maybe 4 grand, maybe more. We'll say give or take. I'm not sure exactly, but we do have around 4 grand ish for the next event or whatever. And I wanted to put it to you guys too, because I mean I mean it really came from Jimmy Dore's audience. So I cannot say thank you to Jimmy Dore enough. First of all, he is always anytime I contact him, literally anytime I contact him and I'm like, "Hey, can you help me with this? Or can you retweet this? Or can you help us push this?" He says yes, no hesitation. He had a show in Denver. He allowed Kendra's group, her Assange group, to set up like an information table, like we were doing at the Roger Waters concerts. When I contacted him about that, he was like, "Absolutely, no hesitation." He said, "Absolutely, they can absolutely show up." And I mean, a lot of people don't like him. I don't give a fuck. Jimmy Dore is one of very few people who is on top of the Assange stuff like nobody's business. He never hesitates. He's always willing to help out. He had me on his show, let us hype the event. I talked to numerous people who were there on the day who were like, "Yeah, I heard about this on Jimmy's show." So he's responsible for people showing up. And then we got a huge amount of fundraising from just that one. I think it was on for like, I don't know, 7 minutes maybe. Like it wasn't even that big. But it was this huge bump. Like all of a sudden the money just started rolling in. So next time I know, go on a little bit earlier so we have time to actually do something with that money for the event. But it's cool. I mean, listen, there's going to be more events. Unfortunately, we're still in this fight. But I wanted to put it to you guys because it's you and Jimmy's audience who donated. Um, there are some multiple things we can do with it. We can do a billboard again, or a couple billboards. We could do, I could donate to the billboard truck in DC that James runs. We could do a round of billboard truck down there. We could just hold on to it until the next event. I mean, there's a lot of things that we could do with it. If anybody has any ideas, I'm always open or willing. If there's like some sort of, I always like to try to get some stuff that we can give away at events, like the bracelets, or I make buttons all the time. I don't like making buttons. I have made fucking thousands of buttons. Oh, they're such a pain in my ass. The night before the October 8th event, I literally spent like 4.5 hours making buttons and it sucked. But like that's like buying supplies for that kind of stuff. So if anybody has Twitter ads from the A4A Twitter. That might be I don't know how, I've never looked into Twitter ads. I don't know how expensive that is. But that's definitely a thought. Andrew, are you at the hospital? Because you could just jump in here, dude. I don't know if you're probably at the hospital though. So yeah, if anybody has any ideas, I'm open to ideas. I'm open to suggestions. It's a group decision. I'm not a dictator here. So I've just been kind of holding on to it to just like see what everybody wants to do with it. I don't know how much YouTube ads cost either, and I wonder if YouTube would even allow it. I'm skeptical. It's worth I'll look into it. But I'm skeptical because they shadow ban the shit out of anything Assange related. So I would hate to pay the money and then like screw us over on not running it or whatever. But that's a great idea. I'll definitely look into Twitter ads and YouTube ads. That's great. Those are great thoughts. I don't know how expensive it is though. And I need to sit down and do I haven't even done like a full like spreadsheet tally of what we already paid for and what we still have left over. Cause like the Airbnb was paid for. We paid Ford Fisher $400. He came and did video for us, and then he gave us the we licensed it from him or whatever. So we own that now. So all of his video footage we can use however we want. And then I also wanted to be fair and paid Emma the exact same. So we paid 400 and 400 for them to come and cover the event. Well worth it. The pictures are phenomenal. The video is great. Ford does, I mean, best in the business, in my opinion, for on the ground reporting, video reporting. So we paid 400 and 400 there. The Airbnb, the bracelets were, I forget how much. It's been so long. I'll go through and do like a detailed stuff, and I'll post it somewhere so that everybody can see for transparency. So that everybody can see what went out, what we still have, all that good stuff. I'm sorry I haven't done it. I should have done it a long time ago, but like I said, life was just like punching me in the face. So it was just like it was honestly just a fight to get through October 8th, like the actual event. It was just a fight to get through it. But it turned out great. So we did it. We did it, fam. We did it. You'll be in the next one. I get you're in a weird headspace, dude. I totally fine. I'm in case you missed it, Andrew, for sure after the first of the year, I'm going to start being weekly for sure. At least on A for A. I don't think I'll do any other shows. I mean, I've been doing appearances on other people's shows, which I'll continue to do because those are just fun. And it's usually like quick. Like I was just on Stranahan for 30 minutes. No big deal. And it doesn't really require any prep work or anything like that. I just go on, talk, and then leave. So yes, we have money. Some. I mean, we're not loaded, but we got some money. We can hold on to that if you guys think that that's better. So that we have the next action ready to go. Like we'll have money already on board for the things that we need for that. Or if you guys think that we should get more like merchy type stuff, like carry bags or whatever, hats or whatever the fuck, I don't know. Or we can do billboards or we can do ads on YouTube or whatever. I'll start looking into some of those options and give you guys pricing so that we can make a more informed decision. But I want it to be like a group, like a conversation. I don't want to just be the one making the call on that. Okay. I feel like I'm forgetting shit. Oh, Daniel Ellsberg. Somebody brought that up in the chat already. I wanted to talk about that. Daniel Ellsberg, hero, legend, amazing dude. Recently did an interview with, was it BBC? I think it was BBC. Pretty sure it was BBC. Or was it CBC? BBC? CBC? BBC? BBC. BBC Hard Talk. So we're going to play this clip. Hopefully they won't fuck with me on. Hold on. Hold, please. Hold, please. Present, share. Okay, so this is a little clip from Daniel Ellsberg's recent interview at BBC talking about, this is the first time he's talked about this aspect of things publicly. So did that come up? Okay, it did. Okay, here we go.
Let me tell you a secret. I had possession of all the Chelsea Manning information before it came out in the press.
Did you?
Julian, I never said that publicly. Julian Assange had conveyed to me as a backup in case his was, they caught him and they got everything. He could rely on me to find some way to get it out if I felt. So I had all that. And when I say that, I'm saying that by the current standing of the Department of Justice, I am now as indictable as Julian Assange and as everyone who put that information out. The papers, everybody who handled it. Yes, I had copies of it and I did not give them to an authorized person. So if they want to indict me for that, I will be interested to argue that one in the courts, whether that law is constitutional. The Supreme Court has never held that using the Espionage Act as if it were a British Official Secrets Act, which I would clearly have violated. But if that, using the Espionage Act as if it were an Official Secrets Act, which has never been passed by our Congress, that would be criminal. They've never ruled on that. I'd be happy to take that one to the Supreme Court.
What you've just done to me, Daniel Ellsberg, by
you're also
telling me that secret.
Sorry.
You've actually said something really interesting, because what you seem to be saying is you wouldn't mind. In fact, you would almost invite the US government
Yes.
to challenge you once again in the courts because you think that the Espionage Act, not just
Is unconstitutional.
Yeah, not
used,
just-
used against whistleblowers is unconstitutional. It's a clear violation of the First Amendment.
Daniel fucking Ellsberg, everybody. What a badass. 91? I think he's 91 now. Such a badass. Such a badass. And he's right. He is every bit as indictable now as Julian Assange, as is the New York Times and the Guardian and Der Spiegel and El País and Le Monde and all of the publishing partners. They all handled the exact same information. They all published it. In fact, some of them published it before WikiLeaks. So they're all in the same boat here. And so the idea that it took 12 years, to their credit, I will say that this is not the first time most of them have spoken out against this, but the fact that it is not like the front page every day of their newspapers is unacceptable. Hey, Erica, Epic Times, go for it. Yes, perfect. Frankly, I have better luck on the right and in particular libertarians than I do on the left. God damn it, that's depressing, but that's true. It's fucking depressing, you guys. This used to be a solid left issue. Like the left was for free speech, period. There was no equivocation. It was, and the left is failing so hard on this issue. It's mind-blowing. Well, see, and Karen, that's the thing. She says, the trouble is US citizens are protected. Aussies seem to be fair game. Well, US citizens aren't protected because Chelsea Manning was tortured for 7 years. But this is a great point because Julian Assange is not fucking American. So this is what it boils down to. The United States is using the US Espionage Act to persecute an Australian citizen by way of the UK justice system. Like, it's with the help of Ecuador and Sweden. It's fucking nuts. I mean, this is, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. The United States is seeking global jurisdiction over information and journalism. They think that they are the rulers of the world and that they control information and that they get to decide who is a journalist, what is journalism, what's allowed to be published, what you're allowed to know, what you're not allowed to know. That's fucking scary. So yes, Daniel Ellsberg is amazing. Shout out to him. Thank you for that, good sir. Incredibly courageous of him. Also the dude from, sorry, I can't talk and type at the same time. I'm not good at that. Come on. The dude from Cryptome. What the fuck's his name? John something maybe. John Young. Yes. John Young from Cryptome. If you guys don't know who Cryptome is, it was kind of like a WikiLeaks, like a leaking site sort of. They actually published the unredacted cables that once the password got out. But John Young is like the Cryptome guy. And he also came forward and said that he should be indicted as well for publishing the same stuff. So, and Kathy Vogan, our dear friend of the show, amazing, badass journalist extraordinaire, editor, producer, musician, artist. She's a Renaissance woman and I love her. But she tweeted out, is this an I am Spartacus moment? Who's next? And that's the energy we need. Like, we need that kind of energy from the media and from others who, I mean, y'all, Julian Assange didn't publish anything that any other journalist wouldn't publish. I mean, what he did is journalism. He was given verifiable information in the public interest and he published it. That's journalism. So shout out to Ellsberg, shout out to John Young. John Young has said some shitty things about Assange in the past, but you know, what can you do? Lots of people have said shitty things about Julian Assange in the past. Also, I think this is the last thing we need to go over unless I randomly remember something, or if you guys think of something and throw it in my throw it in the chat. Hold on, I'm having trouble finding stuff today. Elon Musk's Twitter. Max Blumenthal, by the way, will be at the New York event that I mentioned earlier, along with like, some nobodies like Roger Waters and Randy Credico and Garland Nixon and Joe Loria, who I love and adore from Consortium News as well, like with Kathy. Steven Donziger is going to be there, I think. I mean, come on. So, oh, here it is. This is great. So there was recently a ridiculous fucking panel. Stupid, dumb. First of all, it was held at the Hayden Center, which is Spook Central. I mean, he's like the former CIA. He's a spook. This is Spook Central. So the Hayden Center held this panel with a bunch of turds and then one of Julian Assange's actual attorneys. And you can go watch it if you want. I watched it and it was like my blood was boiling the whole time. I was yelling at my phone the whole time because Assange's lawyer was the only one making points about the actual case and the ridiculousness of it. Everybody else was. It took the Fed. There's a FBI guy that was there. It took him 2 minutes to do the Russia bullshit. Like not even probably. I would say not even 2 minutes. Maybe like a minute and 15 seconds before he mentioned Russia and how Julian Assange is an intelligence operation out of Russia. So that's the level of discourse that was being had here. It was like mind-numbingly stupid. But our good friend Max Blumenthal, which I was so happy. I know that Paula had reached out to him. Yes, Vault 7 is the line he crossed. That's my theory. This is going to be a sidebar. We're going to get a little distracted here, but we're going to get back to Max Blumenthal. So Vault 7 came out in March of 2017, very shortly after Mike Pompeo took over the CIA. For those of you who are unaware, which I'm sure everybody here is aware, but just in case, Vault 7 was the largest CIA leak in history. Hugely embarrassing to the CIA, right? It showed a lot. The way that they're able to spy on you through your phone and your TV. They can take over your car, the computer system in your car. Interestingly enough, it revealed that they are able to hack into computer systems and then leave footprints that make it look like it's somebody else, like maybe Russia. I'm just saying, as an example, perhaps. And a lot of other stuff. Pegasus, a lot of other stuff. If you have not read through Vault 7, you must go read through Vault 7. Please inform yourself about that bullshit. So that was released in March of 2017. We should also mention how cool it is that this is years into Julian already being in illegal and arbitrary detention in the Ecuadorian embassy. He knows he's public enemy number 1 of the world's largest empire. So what does he do? He releases Vault 7. Like, the balls on this guy. You know what I'm saying? But Mike Pompeo was hugely embarrassed by that. And it then became a very personal vendetta for Mike Pompeo. And if you go back and look, his very first speech as the CIA director was given in April of 2017. I don't even think it was a full month following the Vault 7 releases. And his entire speech is almost entirely dedicated to the destruction of Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. So, yes, that was definitely the line that was crossed. I think it was at that moment that Mike Pompeo started the ball moving. That's when the sketches were drawn up to either kidnap or assassinate him. That's when they decided to go and co-opt UC Global and fund it through Sheldon Adelson to spy on Assange and all of his visitors. That's when all of that stuff started happening. Vault 7, I think up until then, they certainly wanted him, obviously. But I think that they were kind of ambivalent about it. Like, he wasn't really releasing a whole lot of stuff while he was in the embassy, some stuff, but nothing like groundbreaking, you know what I mean? Nothing like really earth shattering until Vault 7. And then that was game changer, I think, for in particular, Mike Pompeo. Mike Pompeo is a psychopath. Legit, like, dude is a psychopath. What is Allie Mae? What do you call him? A gigantic blob of satanic jello? It's the best. It's the best description of Mike Pompeo I've ever heard. He has lost a little weight, though, because he's going to run for president. And it's much easier to elect a skinny guy. It's just true. So, yeah, that was it. They were no longer okay with just letting him chill in the Ecuadorian embassy. he pushed a little too many. He pushed the wrong buttons there. Not really the wrong buttons, but he just pushed. That was it. That was the button that was like, okay, we're done. We're done with this guy. So yeah, that's what that was. Okay, so anyways, Hayden Center, bullshit, spook central, garbage institution. But they had this panel, and Jimmy Dore texted me the link to it. And I'm like, yeah, I heard about that. Like, Paula had been trying to contact journalists and activists in the DC area so that we could fill the room with Assange, because we knew there was going to be a huge amount of spin. We knew that was going to happen. So we were trying to get supporters in the room and then also in the chats online. So we were trying to share that link around and say, hey, come, join the chat with us so that we can take over this conversation. And we were trying to get people in the room too. And so Paula sent out a ton of emails and was trying to contact people. So Jimmy had sent me the link and I was like, yeah, I've heard about, we're trying to get people in the room. And he said, Max is going. And I was like, yes. We watched this stupid panel. Infuriating, the whole thing. Go watch it for yourself. Don't make your own judgments. But my blood was boiling 94% of the time. But then they did a question and answer period. And as soon as I heard Max's voice, I was like, here we go. Here we go. Because Max does not play around. It's like my number one favorite thing about him, because he is not afraid to be confrontational. He's not afraid to call these assholes out to their faces. And I personally take a lot of shit for doing that as well. Not at his level. I am no Max Blumenthal. But I get shit for that from inside this community. So I appreciate Max very much, because that's like my spirit animal. So Max was there. Max jumped onto the microphone. And I think that this is in 2 parts. Is it in 2 parts? Oh wait, yeah, it is. Okay. So I'll start with, that's in 2 parts. So we're gonna have to play it in 2 different parts, but it's great. You guys are gonna fucking love this. Okay. If you didn't get to see it and this is your first time seeing it, you're gonna love this. Promise. Okay, here we go. Let me do that. And then do that. And then here we go.
And I believe there is a gentleman here.
Hi. I am a gentleman here. Thank you. Max Blumenthal, the Gray Zone from here in Washington, D.C. The U.S. government used as one of its key witnesses against Julian Assange an Icelandic criminal named Siggi Þórðarson, who was a known and confessed pedophile who attempted to pay children for sex, was considered a sociopath by psychologists during a review, and confessed to lying about Julian Assange, specifically directing him to hack the personal devices of Icelandic reporters, contributing to the indictment. He lied. He admitted to lying, this pedophile. Mark Zaid, on February 10th, 2018, you tweeted that you have gotten security clearances for guys with child porn problems. So I guess I'll give this question to you. Do you think the US government's recruitment of a pedophile and confessed liar harms the credibility of the case against Julian Assange? And what do you think about the tactic of the US government's tactic of recruiting pedophiles as witnesses against Julian Assange?
So one of the things that I
Okay, so first of all, what the fuck are they laughing at? Y'all, what are they laughing at? There's really nothing funny about the government using not just a confessed pedophile, a convicted pedophile, as a witness against Julian Assange, who has then since confessed to lying and fabricating his testimony against Assange in the Icelandic magazine, Stundin, however you say it. I'm not Icelandic. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm butchering it. But this is why I love Max Blumenthal, because he's right. That douche canoe, Mark Zaid, in 2018, bragged on. Is this coming? Yep, here. Yeah. Okay, right here. Right here. He literally bragged about it. So this was a thing from Slate. Why did Rob Porter, an alleged domestic abuser, have security clearance at all? And Mark Zaid jumps in to brag. Well, I've gotten clearances for guys who had child porn issues. What are you talking about? he's just a domestic abuser. I've gotten security clearances for child porn people. Like, this is the kind of turd he is. So yeah, okay. That's I'm not sure I would brag about something like that. But he was. So he asked this question, everybody laughs. I think that honestly the laughter was more an uncomfortable laughter because I mean, it's a pretty heavy question. But it's a very good question. And so this is the ridiculous word salad non-answer answer that Mark Zaid gives. And kudos to Max because he pushes back a couple different times because this turd tries to like conflate the issue and dance around it and all of that stuff. And Max tries to hold him to account. But he still doesn't ever give an actual answer. Max was just recently on Jimmy Dore. I highly suggest everybody go watch the interview that Jimmy did with Max because Max talks about it in great detail there. So, and that's it, just a great segment. So this is the response that this guy gives. Let me go back.
No, not at all. One of my main practice areas is handling security clearance cases. And there are a lot of allegations, unfortunately, involving child pornography. The vast majority of which never turn out to be child pornography. They turn out to be just adult pornography that a polygraph examination has led for someone to.
Let's just stop right there for 1 second. He literally just said that it's child porn issues that don't actually turn out to be child porn issues. It's adult porn issues. Could he be trying to like justify and excuse the work that he's done to it? Okay, Max is going to call him out. Sorry, that just bothers me.
Speculate about. I don't make any decisions.
But just to be clear, in the tweet, you said that those guys have problems with child porn issues. Like, you made a conclusion that they had those problems, not a judge. That was your conclusion.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, I don't make any decisions about security clearances. The U.S. government makes a decision about security clearances.
But you decided to help pedophiles.
Anyone who I have represented who has had an issue, whether it's child pornography, adult pornography, criminal history, alcoholism, foreign national context, I make my case as a lawyer. This is Barry does in his case for his clients. And then the authorities make the decision, in that case, the U.S. government. The reality is in a lot of criminal cases, a lot of the witnesses are not the best and nicest people. I don't know anything particular, personal about this individual. I have no doubt that if Assange is brought.
Let's just stop again right there. So you're on a panel to discuss the Julian Assange case and you don't know about the key witness who admitted to lying in order to fabricate a case against Julian Assange. You're on a panel to discuss the Julian Assange case, and you don't know that the key witness in the case against him involved in the superseding indictment is a complete fraud, career criminal, child pedophile. Really? You shouldn't be. Why are you on the panel, dude? You don't know. He knows. He knows. He just doesn't want to say it. He knows.
Here, Barry will do his best, capably and competently, to attack the credibility of this particular.
To attack the credibility of the pedophile. Yes, that's what he said.
Witness. And at the end of the day,
let's go back actually.
Will determine capably and competently.
Nope,
to
not
attack.
far enough.
Are not the best and nicest people. I don't know anything particular, personal about this individual. I have no doubt that if Assange is brought here, Barry will do his best, capably and competently, to attack the credibility of this particular witness. And at the end of the day, the facts will determine, and the jury system will determine whether or not Barry or others can successfully undermine this individual's credibility. Or the jury will decide that, notwithstanding the past of any particular witness, that the facts lead to the criminal culpability of Assange.
Except for the fact that the witness destroyed his own credibility by admitting he lied. He literally admitted it. Like, we're going to attack the credibility of the guy who said, hey, I lied. He doesn't have any credibility. See, this is what I'm talking about. This dude is an epic douche canoe. And shout out again to Max for calling him out to his face and for asking this question and making them uncomfortable. We need more of that. We need lots more of that. Yeah, Julian Assange never trafficked human flesh for sure. let's just again point out the fact that Ghislaine Maxwell is currently being held in a minimum security prison. Julian Assange is being held in the Guantanamo of the UK. And Ghislaine Maxwell literally trafficked children. Children. We live in a fucked up world. So also Chip Gibbons and Joe Lauria were able to ask questions. Joe Lauria called out the Fed on his bullshit. I don't have the video pulled up for that. I'd have to go through and look at it. Or look for it. I'm sorry. But yeah, this whole panel was a joke. It was so ridiculous. I highly recommend you, if you can handle your blood boiling for a little while, I would highly recommend go and watch it. But also I'm going to drop the article where Siggy Thordarson, the guy, the pedophile, where he admitted to lying. I'm going to drop that in the chat for you guys because that's something that you should have in your bookmarks for ammunition, because it's like a huge hole in their case that this guy won't even address it. He doesn't know. I don't know anything about this guy. Really? You're on a panel to talk about the Julian Assange case and you don't know about the key witness who recently admitted to lying. Right. I watched it live too. I had to leave for a brief period because I had to go pick up my kid from basketball practice, but I was fuming. I'm sure you guys can imagine. Like face red, screaming at my phone, especially the stupid Fed. What the fuck was his name? I'm shit at names. I'm sure Max has got it in his thread. Hold on. No, this is all about the Zaid guy. I forget the other guy's name. There was a Fed who like opened up when they were going around letting people speak to open the conversation. He opened up with saying, well, I just want to make it clear that I'm not here representing the government. I'm not representing the government's position. And then went on to regurgitate the government's position. Like, really, dude. Just, Fed's gonna Fed. Okay. I feel like I'm forgetting some shit that we should be going over. We did Ellsberg and Cryptome. We did October 8th. We did, what the fuck else did we do, guys? The newspapers, New York Times. I gave you guys the tweet, the thread, my Sarcasm Stardust, at Sarcasm Stardust. It's my pinned tweet. Whole bunch of contact information for different local newspapers in each and every one of the 50 states and DC in alphabetical order. That thread took me for fucking ever to put together. So go write a couple letters a day. Obviously, also we can do phone calls. And listen, I'm under no delusion that phone calls are going to be like a monumental game changer here. However, super easy. That's like just a super easy thing that you can do. It takes, you're almost certainly going to get a messaging service. Just leave a message. It takes like maybe 2 or 3 minutes total. That's it. Very easy. I have the graphics that Big Mad Crab made for me. I'll tweet those out again. I can't find them on here, and I don't want to take up any more of your guys' time. Do you guys have anything else? Am I forgetting anything? Oh, Glory Jones is here. Glory Jones, I haven't talked to you in a fucking minute, my friend. Where you been? Why are you hiding? Where are you? What's going on? I guess I've been hiding too a little bit. You need to come on the Vigil, or we need to do a show or something. We need to do some shit together. It's always a good time. That's why I like doing our little show we did together on, what's it called now? Kerberos Media, right? I don't remember. Anyways, streaking. Come on, nobody wants to see me streaking. Don't be ridiculous. I will say that Lee Stranahan, I was just on his show earlier today. He did a bunch of those AI things that everybody's obsessed with the AI art thing right now. Everybody's making their AI portraits or whatever. But he went through and did a shit ton of Assange portraits. So that's stuff that you guys can use for flyers or handouts or tweets or whatever. I tweeted that out as well. I'll retweet it so you guys can find that. Anything else, guys? I feel like I'm forgetting shit. There's just so much. Oh, the Albanese thing. I did forget that. So we kind of talked about it. Albanese said that he has, in fact, broached the subject of Julian Assange with U.S. officials. He didn't say what U.S. officials. It could have been an intern. He didn't say what he said. Could have been nothing. It was probably I question that he said anything at all. But whatever. Even at face value, not good enough. We don't have time for quiet diplomacy on this case. This case has been taking place in silence for way too long. It needs all the noise. That's my opinion. People disagree with me. People also think that I should be kissing Anthony Albanese's ass. That's not going to happen. And that's like, listen, you don't have to agree with me on tactics. You don't have to like me. You don't have to agree with me. I'm not here seeking approval. You know what I'm saying? You know, I just don't care. And I think shitting on independent sources and asking me to kiss the ass of the Guardian is really dumb. It's not going to happen. That's just not going to. I mean, I don't care if you don't like certain independent sources or if you think that they're too controversial or whatever. You know, no more controversial than Jordan Peterson for sure. But I'm not going to kiss the ass of the Guardian. They need to be held accountable. They need to be called out, especially given the fact that even in their letter of so-called support, they regurgitate the same smears that have been regurgitated for years. And when it's in fact them who released the encryption key to their unredacted cables, that needs to be called out loud. Like, that's ridiculous. But again, great that it was talked about in the mainstream media. I'm not saying that's not a good thing. It's always good when it gets coverage. And yes, fuck Israel and all its simps. Yeah, I'll say that too. Oh, I'm on YouTube. So we're gonna get kicked off YouTube. Whatever. Okay. Anything else? The Australia stuff should be starting here very soon. I don't know if anybody's live streaming that. Ali, if you're still here, and do you know if anybody's live streaming or if anybody's going to be like videoing it for future publication or anything? Because I'd love to be able to like tune into some of these events that are going to be happening. I don't know. I'm not sure if Boston's live streaming or Denver. I don't know if anybody is. But it would be cool if people could at least take some footage or whatever so that we can show that. Going live. Oh, you're talking to Glory. Going live with Steven Pasta, probably. Oh yeah, Glory's in London, and Team London is the best. I mean, listen, I love Denver and I love Boston and I love Tulsa and I love the Seattle crew and I love us, our A4A crew, but I love the London crew so much. They are badasses. They are in the streets at least twice a week. Rain, sun, snow, COVID. They didn't care. They were out there being chased by cops during lockdowns. Like, we don't give a fuck. We're still going to do our vigils. They're amazing badasses. Some of the like most passionate and dedicated activists I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. I love them. And I am very jealous of you, Glory Jones. Frankly, I want to go to London so bad. Just so I can go hang out with them, really. I mean, obviously I want to be able to protest and, you know, do my part, but I just want to be able to meet my heroes. I don't use the word hero very much, but Daniel and James, and I shouldn't have started naming names because now I'm going to forget people and then feel bad. So I'm going to shut up. But you know who you are. The London crew is amazing. I love you. Glory Jones, tell them I love them. Yeah. Love them. I love them. I love them. I love them. Okay. Yeah. EF Press usually does do the Belmarsh events. Yeah, Sabby, there's it's unfortunate. Conflicting events happening. There's an anti-war thing. And then there's also the Assange thing. I think Jill Stein is, I don't know. Jill Stein's going to one or the other. I wish everybody just got together. Those two causes go hand in hand. Would have been cool if they would have just all done a thing, right? That would have been dope. How do you view the potential outcome? Not good. I mean, come on. I've said it for a very long time. We cannot rely on the courts for justice. That's just not a thing. The European Court of Human Rights is no different. It's corrupt. It's under control. It's, it's just another drawn out. It's just going to draw it out even further. So again, it's going to take mass public pressure. That's the only thing that is going to work, is if we make it politically untenable for them to continue, really. So, I mean, and honestly, I don't even know for sure if they're even going to go that route. Kristen Harasson just did an interview with Glenn Greenwald on Glenn's show. Everybody check that out. And he said that there's a possibility that Julian could be in the United States within weeks. We're still waiting for what's almost certainly going to be a denial on the perfected grounds for appeal. For those of you who are not aware, an appeal was submitted that was denied, or I'm sorry, a request for appeal was submitted. In the UK court system. You have to request an appeal, and then they review that request and decide whether or not they're even going to hear the appeal. So a request for appeal was submitted, that was denied, and then what they did was submitted a perfected grounds for appeal. So it's just basically like a Hail Mary, where they just went back and like highlighted some of the stuff. Like, it's basically like, hey, are you sure? Are you really, really sure you don't want to hear our appeal? So that's almost certainly going to get denied. Again, I would say probably close to Christmas, so that they can bury it. It could come any minute, though. There's really no deadline or set time, I don't think. And then there is the potential that they could go to the European Court of Human Rights. I don't know that they're going to. I don't know if it would serve any purpose other than just dragging the shit out for even longer. So yeah, it's going to be, shit's going to get real. I mean, it's been real. It's going to get even realer. I hope everybody, if you're in the States, I hope you are ready, because if he is brought here, we need to amplify like 100-fold. Like, it needs to become a very serious issue in this country. You want a link to the Lee Stranahan stuff? Is that what you're asking for, Anonymous? Hold on, I can bring that up. Also, Anonymous, just so you know, if you are looking for imagery or graphics or whatever, for signs, buttons, flyers, handouts, whatever, Somerset Bean, it does an amazing job. He does all of our graphics. Well, not all of them. That's not fair, because Big Mad Crab has been doing a lot of mine, because Bean's very busy. Bean's a busy guy. But he has a website, and hold on, I'll give you the link to that too. Come on, where's the Assange ones? I think Lee tweets more than I do. I love Lee Stranahan. Please check him out. He's kind of a libertarian, conservative-ish type guy, but he's a great human being. Such a nice guy. I really like him. Come on. Why can't I find it? I might have missed it. Hold on. Lee Stranahan. Whoops. Assange. Nope, that's only bringing up speeches he's given at different events. I don't know why it's not coming up. If you go to Lee Stranahan's Twitter page, great episode. Oh, yeah, that was the episode I was just on. So he's at Stranahan on the tweeters. And it's here somewhere. I'm probably just scrolling too fast and missing it entirely. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm sure watching me scroll on Twitter is not very entertaining, but that's what you get right now. It's got to be here somewhere. I've also retweeted it. I guess I could look at my own page. That might help too. But then here, let me find Somerset Bean. Oh, I cannot type today to save my life, y'all. So Bean is at Somerset Bean on the tweeters, and then has a website, which is just somersetbean.com. I'm going to drop the link for you. But Bean has great graphics. Oh, yeah, Glory. Okay, yeah, there's the Dropbox. Glory Jones is so fast. She's so fast. I can't scroll and talk. But Bean does great graphics and already has a lot of pre-made stuff like handouts, trifolds, stuff like that. And then, and if you need something, again, Bean is very, very busy. But if you direct message Bean and you want something that's more custom made, or if you need like a specific size or whatever, he's always willing to help if he can, if he's got time. And usually in between events, is much easier to get stuff from Bean. When there's like global events going on, Bean is hammered with requests. So it's not that easy. But also my friend Big Mad Crab. I will link to Crab's Twitter page. Crab made all of my graphics for the October 8th event. And made like my graphic for the phone call thing that we did for both Assange and Leonard Peltier. So Big Mad Crab can help you with graphics as well. Everybody support Big Mad Crab. He's also part of INN, Indie News Network. Support their work as well. I love them. So if you need graphics, there's plenty of people who are willing to help out. Bean and Crab do great stuff. And then there's also a couple other people in the INN crew who can throw graphics together if you need something and can't find anybody else or whatever. But yeah, those are my two go-tos. Bean and Crab are my two go-tos. Okay. Anything else, y'all? Anything? Check in the chat. I don't think I missed anything. Nope, I think we're good. Okay, so I don't know. I might do another vigil or two before the end of the year. If something happens, certainly I will. But after the first of the year, it's going to be weekly again. I just needed some time off, so just be patient with me. It was really necessary. I'm not going to lie. It was good. I needed it. And I've just now really started to even do appearances. I've done like a couple on RBN and INN. I did Lee Stranahan, stuff like that. I've been doing I did Fault Lines a couple of times. Fault Lines easy though. It's usually just like 15 minutes, although they usually hold me for 30. But I love them. They're great. They are always very kind to me. So I've really just now started doing appearances and stuff. I was very quiet for like a good solid month. I didn't do anything, like no shows, no appearances. I was not on Twitter as often. I just was breathing. So after the first of the year, for sure, we're going to go weekly. I'll get the financial stuff sorted and like put together so everybody can see what we're looking at, what's already gone out, what we still have left over. We can decide where we want to spend that money. I'll look into YouTube ads, Twitter ads. I'll check out billboard pricing again because it's been a while since we could also excuse me, rather than do a new billboard, we could also just contribute some money to Daniel's effort in North Carolina if everybody would be okay with that. Daniel DeCeter, who's longtime friend, organizer, is at all of our actions, really. Like an unsung hero, very behind the scenes and quiet, but an amazing human being. Like I'm so proud to call him my friend. But he's been doing a billboard campaign in North Carolina. He actually has a friend who owns a billboard company, so he gets a sweet ass deal. So we could also contribute to that rather than starting a new billboard. But I'll put some options together and some pricing together and get the financials all sorted for transparency issues so everybody can see what we have, what's gone out, where it's been going, all of that stuff. And then we can just go from there and figure out what we want to do with it. But that's a group decision. That's not just a me decision. So, and if anybody needs anything in the meantime, you know where to find me. I'm on the tweeters at Sarcasm Stardust. And Andrew is at Andrew Is it Smith on Twitter or is it Zygmunt? I always forget. What are you, Andrew? But also keep Andrew and his family in your thoughts. It's Andrew Zygmunt, Zigmund. I mean, his little girl is, very ill. So, seriously, a fighter though, a total badass. But I mean, having emergency brain surgery to remove a tumor from your brain stem is serious business. So yeah, everybody keep them in your thoughts. If you do the prayer thing, do the prayer thing. Good vibes, all that stuff. I don't know if they need anything. I don't know if, like maybe financially, if we need, I'll speak to Andrew about that and we'll figure all that out. But if we need to run a GoFundMe or something to help with medical costs, we'll absolutely do that. So look for that. I'll speak with him privately first and we'll see if that's something that even needs to be done. Other than that, you know where to find me on Twitter. If you need something, have questions, whatever. And in the meantime, make it out to an event tomorrow. Don't forget to post your pictures either with the chair or the lantern or both. I don't give a fuck. The social media thing it's good to just try to get the information out there. And the more people that do it, the less we have to fight the algorithm. Yeah, Gloria, I saw that. He was just in here just a little bit ago. I think he bounced out though. But he tried to call me on Element and I was live. So he jumped in the chat. Yeah, so the events tomorrow, don't forget to write local newspapers. The pinned tweet on my Twitter at Sarcasm Stardust is that monster thread. There's also a like that form letter list of ideas from that Paula made up. Continue to pressure Albanese, continue to make phone calls to the DOJ and the White House. Again, I'm under no delusion that that's going to be a game changer, but it's very quick. It's like 2 minutes of your time. And if lots of us do it, it becomes harder to ignore. And we just need that kind of pressure. We just need a lot of pressure. And support all the other groups. I mean, AFRAY is just a very tiny little piece of the puzzle. There's, again, groups in Denver, Seattle, Tulsa, Boston, DC. There's a new group in DC who's doing amazing work. The London crew, if they ever need help hyping an event, or if they need donations for supplies, or if they, whatever, support everybody, all of us. We're in it together. And we all need each other. So we have to take care of each other and have each other's backs, and defend each other and all that stuff. So, because as more and more support, as the support grows, the trolls will get worse. Trust me, I've been seeing it. So yeah, if they come for one of us, they come for all of us. Fuck them. It's us against the world, right? So yeah, just keep the pressure up. Keep trying to call attention to it. Make it out to an event tomorrow. Write your newspapers, all that good stuff. And find me on Twitter if you have any questions or need anything in the meantime. And I guess that's it. See you soon, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Love you. Love you, love you, love you. You guys are amazing. Okay. Bye, guys.